We all kind of know what makes a watch tick. But what makes a watch tick to the tune of millions, even tens of millions of dollars? How does a little machine on your wrist get there? Well, that's what we're going to figure out.
Let's just start with a number, shall we? $55 million. And no, that is not a typo. That is the actual price tag for the most expensive watch in the entire world, the Graf Diamonds Hallucination. We'll get to what makes it so special in a bit, but just let that number wash over you for a second.
And that really is the big question, isn't it? How can a watch, a device that literally just tells you the time, something your phone does for free, end up being worth more than a mansion or a super yacht or even a private jet? There's a secret formula to it, and today we're going to crack the code.
Yep, this is our $55 million question, and answering it means taking a little trip into the amazing world where art, history, and mind-boggling engineering all smash together. It's a world called horology.
So, what are the ingredients that cook up this kind of extreme value? Well, it turns out that secret formula we're looking for, it really stands on three main pillars.
So here they are. First, you've got provenance, which is all about the story. Then there's rarity, which is good old-fashioned supply and demand. And finally, complication, which is all about the sheer mechanical genius packed inside the watch. Let's break each one down. Okay, first up, provenance. This is probably the most romantic part of the equation. It's not just about who owned the watch, but the life that watch lived. Was it on a famous actor's wrist while he was racing cars? Did an astronaut take it to space? Every scratch can tell a story, and a really, really good story can be priceless.
The second ingredient? Rarity. This one's pretty straightforward. The less there is of something, the more people want it. In the watch universe, that could mean it was a super limited edition or maybe a one-of-a-kind prototype. And sometimes, and this is my favorite, a watch becomes rare just because it gets lost for 50 years, building up this incredible myth around it.
And that brings us to complication. Think of this like the engine in a hypercar. A normal watch tells you the time. Okay, great. A complicated watch can track the phases of the moon, account for every leap year for the next century, or even chime the exact time down to the minute using tiny little hammers and gongs. Each one of those complications represents thousands of hours of a master's work. It's pure artistry. Okay, so that's the theory. But let's see how these ingredients actually work together in the real world with a few legendary watches.
Let's start with a masterclass in provenance, Paul Newman's very own Rolex Daytona. Now, here's the wild part. Back in the 60s and 70s, this specific style of watch was not popular at all. Seriously, they were considered a bit weird-looking, and they would just sit on dealers' shelves.
So, what changed everything? It was all about the story. This watch was a gift from Newman's wife, Joanne Woodward, because she was nervous about his new passion for professional car racing, and she had this beautiful, simple message engraved on the back. Just like that, it went from being a watch to being a piece of a Hollywood love story.
But then, the story gets a huge dose of rarity. In 1984, Paul Newman just gives the watch to his daughter's boyfriend, and for the next 30-something years, it just disappears. To the watch world, it became a ghost, a lost holy grail. So you could imagine the absolute frenzy when it finally came up for auction in 2017. That perfect storm of legendary provenance and decades of rarity sent the price into another galaxy.
All right, now for a case study in just pure mind-bending complication, the Patek Philippe Henry Graves Super Complication. And yes, that's its real name. This watch basically exists because two of the richest men in America in the 1920s had a rivalry to see who could commission the most complicated watch in the world.
And Graves won. This pocket watch is a mechanical universe. It has 24 different complications. It took 8 years to design and build. It has a celestial map of the sky exactly as it looked from his New York apartment. It chimes the time like Big Ben in London. It's not a watch. It's a symphony in brass and steel.
Now let's look at an example of pure, uncut rarity. This is the Patek Philippe Reference 1518. Back in 1941, it was a game changer. The first perpetual calendar chronograph ever made in a series. Now, most of them were made in precious metals, like yellow or rose gold, but a tiny, tiny handful were made in plain old stainless steel. So how tiny is a tiny handful? 4. That's it. Only 4 of these are known to exist in the entire world. For collectors at this level, owning something that only 3 other people have That's the ultimate prize. It's a perfect example of how scarcity, all by itself, can push a watch into the stratosphere. So, now that we know the rules of the game, let's go all the way back to the top of the list and see what's going on.
Here they are, the top 3. We've met the super complication down there at number 3, but check out the top 2. You've got the Patek Grandmaster Chime at a cool 31 million, and then the Graph Hallucination way up top at 55 million. What's so wild is they get to those crazy numbers in completely different ways.
See, the Graph Hallucination is all about the materials. It's basically a piece of jewelry that tells time. Its value comes from the 110 carats of incredibly rare colored diamonds that cover it. The Patek Grandmaster Chime, however, is all about the craft. It's the most complicated wristwatch Patek had ever made, so you have value from raw materials on one hand and value from pure human ingenuity on the other.
This all brings us to a fascinating final point. This isn't just about a hobby for the super rich anymore. This is about time itself becoming a serious financial asset.
Think about it like this. The supply of the greatest vintage watches is fixed. They aren't making any more of them, but the number of wealthy collectors around the world is exploding. You can't even get the hottest new watches from Rolex or Patek. The waitlists are years long. All that demand floods into the pre-owned market, and prices just soar.
And the numbers really don't lie. Data shows that over the last 5 years or so, investing in the big 3 brands, that's Patek, Rolex, and Audemars Piguet, has actually outperformed the S&P 500 stock index by a lot. We're talking an average of 20% growth per year, compared to about 12% for the stock market. That's incredible. And this secondary market is absolutely enormous now. Industry analysts say that it makes up about half of all the money spent on luxury watches. And here's the kicker. It's growing even faster than the market for brand new watches. This has gone from a niche hobby to a major financial force.
Which really leaves us with one last question to chew on. After all of this, the incredible stories, the impossible rarity, the breathtaking craftsmanship, what are these multi-million-dollar objects really? Are they timeless masterpieces, monuments to human skill, or are they just the ultimate status symbol, the biggest flex imaginable? You know, the answer is probably both.